What it is, y'all, it's your old boy Pilkin. I'm coming back with another Dragon Ball Daima episode. And this is episode 3. We are firmly into the series now. I will say right out of the chute, this episode took its time getting where it needed to get. This was more of like a setup episode. They're really kind of setting the stage for where the series is going to go. Because I think there's just no one really has any qualms about what this is. This is literally just trying to make the better ideas from Dragon Ball GT into something that fits into the kind of story canon that we have going on. So essentially like shoehorning the better parts of GT between Z and Super. And I'm kind of here for it. Like, honestly, so far it's been a good ride. This episode, though, little bit of I won't call it a low point, just kind of a very slow episode. Now, it did do some interesting things. It kind of did some general world building. We find out that, and I don't remember the name of the species, but we found out Supreme Kai's species. They just kind of mentioned it in passing. And there's apparently 3 worlds in the demon realm. So I won't call them like planets. They're just kind of, they work differently. They're literally just like realms within the realm, it seems. Very strange situation that, but you know, it kind of works. Now, essentially when we left off the last episode, our crew, the Kaioshin, Goku, and Glorio kind of took off in Glorio's ship, and they were on their way back to the Demon Realm. Everyone else is going to kind of lag behind. Now, we do find out that this galactic... I'm with Goku, it's a goldfish. I know he gets like super tender about it, but it's a goldfish. Come on. It's just a goldfish with an easily bruised ego is all it is. But in order to pass, you have to have a certain password, and we have not passed along that password yet. So we'll see how this plays out. Apparently, you have to have a password to pass between the realms. It'll just basically is just kind of a way for them to set up a delay between the time like Vegeta and crew arrive. But we already know from both the intro and outro that Vegeta, Bulma, and all them are going to, and Piccolo especially, are going to be showing up at some point. But probably the first like 10... Maybe a full-on 10 minutes of the episode is just them at this gate. It essentially is a sentient gate, and just kind of passing through the gate and all the shenanigans that ensue. It's not super important. The only thing that's really interesting here is that they mention Goku's round ears, and the gate fish, whatever you want to call it, has to confirm and say, "Hey, look, let me see your ears." So Kaioshin essentially magically changes Goku's ears to be pointy like everyone else's. I guess that is, and they mentioned that before, but that's a feature of creatures within the demon realm. So that'd be what it be. But we eventually get through the portal and we kind of get into the demon realm. And it looks a lot like Namek. Essentially, it looks like Namek, but with like floating rocks and it's like a cross between Namek and Hiffle. Really. Really it is. There's dragons everywhere. There's weird, strange creatures, volcanoes floating in the sky for no reason whatsoever. Which, how do you feed it with a magma chamber? I don't know. But whatever. You just don't ask questions. And Goku's like, I want to get out. I want to go exploring. Typical Goku, right? But when they get out, they find that the air is, they call it heavy in the translation, but it's actually thick. The air is dense, and they're not really able to kind of penetrate the air as easily. So Goku's moves are pretty limited. And he even mentioned in the last episode, he's still getting used to his relative size and all that. So if Goku seems very powered down here, they kind of, like, I mean, you remember, like, this stage of the game in Dragon Ball, Goku was, like, already, Master Roshi was blowing up planets. Or, the moon, I'm sorry. Still, there are planets smaller than the moon. Well, I guess Pluto technically is the moon. Doesn't matter. Roshi blew up the moon. Arguably, Goku could at least be a significant planetary level threat, if not a full-on, planetary destroyer. He at least is a legitimate threat. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to set the stage for Goku to be a little bit powered down and try to kind of explain that. It is what it is. Once again, I'm going to give them, a certain amount of time to settle this up. It does feel a little heavy-handed, to me at least. But, they're setting up a new series, and it's a completely different series. Like, let's be fair here. Super felt very similar to Z. Super and Z have a very similar, dare I say, vibe. They kind of go hand in hand. This is giving me very much OG Dragon Ball vibes. Not just because Goku's a kid, but very much how things are presented and how our characters interact with their environment and other people. It is a little more quirky, a little less serious. Though they have hinted at some other stuff that's happening. Glorio especially has got something else going on. But, all said and done, it's just a very slow-paced, unserious episode. So, you can only expect so much. Now, one thing that is true here, the animation is absolutely on point. The animation really doesn't miss here. The one argument that I was initially going to have is that when they meet kind of these, they're like essentially trolls, more or less. Their arrows are really slow moving, and it's very weird the way everything reacts. But they even mentioned it's because the air is so thick, and the fact that, their arrows aren't able to fly right. But they still were a little wonky in the animation department. But, it is what it is. They're doing their best. Animation-wise, I love the character designs. It's all very... It's comfortable, even though it is new. Like, all the characters kind of... They really exude Toriyama's style, but they don't... They are different, but they're not challenging, for, I guess, the easiest way to word it. And we get a little bit of combat between Goku and these random bar patrons, but I get the feeling like... and Goku very much even mentions that he's kind of like holding back, but my argument with this is going to be there's like no stakes here, right? Like, we know Goku could just absolutely annihilate them, but he holds back and he kind of acts like he can't do much. It's a little... I don't want to say disingenuous to the series, because that's not true at all. It felt very strange. And they even mentioned multiple times how Goku's taken out Boo and how none of this should be a problem. And yes, I know he's back to his childlike form, and he's had some issues with that before, but I don't know. It feels a little forced, if I'm totally critical. But, at the end of the day, it just kind of is what it is. So, our crew basically, they go to a hotel. Goku and Kaioshin are essentially forced to share a room, where Glorio gets his own room, and it's all under very strange circumstances. Like, the way it goes down is really weird. Glorio's clearly, like I said, got something going on, and we'll find out about that soon enough. But when they leave, essentially at the end of the episode, you find out that these guys that Goku had kind of beaten up at the bar have stolen Glorio's ship, and that's kind of where the episode lets off. So, and that's most of the important stuff in the episode, if I'm totally honest. It was a fun episode. I would say of all the episodes out, granted there's only 3, it is the weakest so far. But I also understand that at some point they're building lore. The thing is, it's kind of like I said with the last episode. When everything's on, it is absolutely on. The couple times, though, I kind of got weird vibes and weird feelings from the episode. It kind of took me out for a moment. But, all in all, I'm still very much enjoying it. I still, I long for that feeling that episode 2 gave me. I did not get that out of this episode. But maybe that's just me. And once again, we're setting up still. We're still in the middle of world building. We probably have another episode or 2 of that world building before things really kick off. Plus, I get the feeling it's going to be a slower paced series Whereas I've been watching some other series lately, and things tend to just go like that. And that never really happened in Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball took a while to get where it was going to. So it's not the end of the world. But let me know what you guys feel up to this point. Episode 3 is on the books. Make sure you guys like, comment, and share, and I'll be back with more real soon.